Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 232 at scavengerlife.com, aka Trash Elf Radio, for all the trash elves in the nation.
And there's like grown adults hearing this, just like, hang on a second.
You know what?
I'm a business owner. I'm not a
You know what is so
elf.
funny, though? There are business owners that are like, hell yeah, I'm a trash elf. You know what I mean? We hear that all the time. Little trash elves.
That's how I see myself. Okay, so Ryan.
Yes?
I'm going to talk about a couple things here.
Yeah, I know.
Number one.
Yeah.
We pay for two storage areas, like
storage storage lockers.
Right. And we've had them for a couple of years. And, I mean, granted, they aren't very expensive. But
where we live, they're not expensive.
Where we live. So it's really not a big deal. And we did that because, you know, we were buying furniture and we just started having stuff.
We outgrew our house, basically.
So we're determined to actually combine them into one. And so I started going through one of our lockers and I realized that there were 7 large plastic tubs of clothes. That we have probably had some of them since like 2009.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, we have, yeah. Well, we knew they were there. They were just sitting there.
And these are all you. It's Ryan. So I did a list it or donate it challenge to you.
Yes. Because we had to consolidate. We were like, we have to get rid of one of these units because it's...
Well, we don't have to, but we chose to.
We want to. Yeah. We want to.
And these are clothes. So when we were first starting out, we were selling clothes and shoes.
Yeah.
And I remember there was... I don't think it took you long to get as many clothes.
No.
You would go through the thrift store on bag day, and you would go through the women's area, and you would just do bags full of like cool, funky vintage clothes. But then when it came time to list it, I think you and certainly I don't have a big passion to like list these clothes because a lot of them aren't name brands. They're just like vintage clothes.
Yeah.
And so why are you excited about
Here's what happened. I think this is what happened. So we amassed a bunch of stuff before we moved into our house. And that was like between 2009 and 2011. We were redoing our house. And... you know, we had a bunch of, old school vintage, like, stuff that we just didn't sell anymore, that we were like, this is high quality stuff. Let's keep it. So we kept it in bins. And then there was, like, a bunch of other stuff that we gathered, I think, in our office here. And we were like, okay, let's just store that and get back to it.
Are you excited about this stuff?
Some of it.
Okay. So what happened once, so I took the pickup truck. I loaded, the back of the pickup truck is full of plastic bins.
All of them.
And I brought each of them into the house one by one. I sat you in a chair and you went through them.
I sat you in a chair.
And then you had a donation pile. And then like, I'm going to list this pile. And really it was like 2/3 donate, 1/3 keep.
Yeah, it's 1/3 keep.
So that 1/3 keeping, are you excited about taking pictures?
The 1/3 keep was like unique, high-end, or, just like funky and cool, and I know I can sell it fast.
Now, I think from my perspective, one reason why we don't do a lot of ladies like clothes.
Yeah.
We do coats, but not like all the other clothes.
Like clothes,
blouses and dresses.
Yeah,
is because I feel like it's women's clothes. A lot of times they need a model.
Yes.
And obviously with those kind of clothes, you can't wear them all, and so and we tried a mannequin once and it's just like a pain in the butt and we don't think it looks good, and so now we like put it all on the ground, right?
Either on the ground if it's like pants, or I will hang them up. We have like a lot of hooks on the wall in like every room of our house, so we have like these brass hooks, so I'll hang stuff up. It looks nicer hung up, but this is my thing. Ultimately, if you want to sell vintage clothes, like vintage 50s and 60s and like whatever, you have to style those clothes so that they look awesome and you can sell them for high prices. And we did that in the beginning, and we stopped selling that stuff because we were just more interested in like more practical coats, boots, things like that.
It just took a lot of time.
It takes a lot of time. And you don't get a lot of money depending on the item. So basically when I was going through those piles, I was getting rid of the stuff that I'm like, this is cool, but it's going to take me forever to sell that. I'm going to give it to this, local thrift store, and whatever vintage buyers out there, let them get it, or whatever.
I mean, I do wonder, though, the girls or women that focus on clothes for, they often will it's model it themselves.
Right.
Like the kids that sell on Etsy.
Right, the Etsy kids.
She models all of her own clothes. So that's my question. So is she just buying clothes that fit her? That's so interesting.
Well, for her situation, from what I see, she's tiny. So she can wear almost anything, and anything that's big, she'll just clip. Yeah. But for me, I'm not tiny. So those vintage sizes, I mean, I'm a regular size, but like some of those vintage dresses.
You're beautiful, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah. You know, like I am not like super petite like that. And those vintage 50s sizes are tiny. Like those waists, I'm like, I can't fit my arm in this. Like it's tiny. So if you can't wear that, you have to put it on a mannequin, like you said, and style it and make it look beautiful. And I'm just like, I don't have time for that. I don't want to have time for that. That's not what I'm doing.
Or wear it with another piece of item
that looks awesome.
That isn't being sold.
Right.
With it.
It's but style it. You style it.
Right.
And I am totally not interested in doing that. I think I could, but I don't want to. That's not what's interesting to me, you know. So what I want to do is I want to sell things piece by piece to people who can see the potential in it and just go for it, you know.
So anyway, that was an example of like, again, you know, I think about it this past year, 2015, I mean, we scavenge, you know, we've been buying, but not like we had in previous years. This year has really been like scavenging kind of just opportunistically, where if we're just out and about, we'll go and it will scavenge. But for the most part, it's not like the old days where we would scavenge 2-3 days a week specifically to do that.
This year in particular, I do want to point this out to you. We started a new business and we were super busy with our video business, plus eBay. So it wasn't like, what should we do this week? It was like, you know, all year was insane.
That is true, but I guess my point is we've been spending this year really going through all the stuff that we've been gathering.
Yes, that's a huge...
since 2008, and I'm sure other people might have the same issue as well. If you've been selling online for more than a couple of years, I'm sure you might also have those piles, and it's pretty incredible. Like, you know, we still have quite a bit. Like, I found another box. And it's a big plastic big plastic tub of smalls. And these are, and like I'm looking at it right now, I mean, it's like, you know, to the rim of like little small things that we found. You know, like when you go to auctions, you
little
get
box lots,
and stuff where I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. A bunch of buttons, and so it's all in there. I mean, and so it's only one box, but we're gonna have to go through it and see. I mean.
Yeah.
If you think of selling things one by one, there's a lot of stuff in there.
But the cool thing is we sell weird, small stuff all the time. Those like little monkey figurines.
Yep.
I was like, there's no way anybody's going to buy those.
I bought it.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it. There's no way. And someone bought it for it was on sale, $25 for this cheap little, it wasn't even like cheap. Nice metal.
It was like brass.
It was not solid brass. Oh, yeah. It was like cast aluminum with a brass paint on it.
My mom used to collect those monkeys. And we had like a whole shelf full of like different monkeys.
It's kind of a weird thing. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. It's kind of dark. Don't you think? Like, it's just kind of a weird, like, I just think it's a weird symbol. And so it's funny that your mom and people collect those. Yeah. It's like collecting owls. I think that's really weird.
I think it's just collecting in general. I think, and like, it's my dad collected elephants, although I don't think he really meant to. I just think it's like...
He didn't.
Well, you know, like...
He was like, oops, I don't know.
Never know what to buy a father
Someone,
very often, like especially dad, you know, and so buying ties. And I think for some reason we just started buying him elephants, and then we would just always buy him elephants.
That's so cute, though. I really like elephants.
He had like a whole, and so his whole shelf was full of like these little
elephants.
Different elephants.
Where are they? Can we sell them?
Oh, he moved. I bet they're
gone.
I bet he just donated them all, you know.
Someone else is selling them on eBay.
So, that being said, this week we did actually do some old school thrift shopping. Where,
yes.
So, we used to, and we'll probably get back into it, but it used to, we would go on this route.
Yeah.
We would drive about 120 miles in our area. And
or if you're from the Northeast, a route.
And we would hit all these thrift stores and all these little places, and we would, come back at the end of the day, car full of stuff.
Yep.
And we actually stopped at one of our old spots.
Yeah, we had to go up to one of the bigger towns, and this was like on the way, and we're like, let's see what's there.
And it was so fun.
There was so much good stuff, and that's what's cool about basically it's a church thrift store, essentially, like hidden in a corner. And when people aren't shoppers or whatever, sellers that go there, it hasn't been shopped.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't like, there's amazing things on every shelf, but I found some amazing stuff hidden in the back room, that nobody cared about. I was like, what? This is awesome.
Right.
Dansk. It was Dansk. I found a lot of old Dansk, which is like, for me, like...
Like someone just, some old lady just donated a big box of Dansk pots and these salt and pepper shakers.
Oh my God.
And we're just like, here you go. And then you just went and bought it for
$5
$2
each.
to $4 or $5 each.
I was like, okay, I'll do it.
I found a bunch of cool shoes. I mean, it's like, it just reminds me of when we started. Like, that's what we did. That's a bread and butter, is like going and buying really nice shoes.
Nice kitchenware.
Good quality shoes for $3 each.
Yeah, they're $3.
Sell them for $30 to $70,
I mean, that's how we started.
Yeah.
We just go to those thrift stores, fill up our car, and go list it. That's all you can do.
Yep.
So, on that same day, or in that same week, we broke our pantry challenge.
That's true. Yeah, so I've been having this thing where, kind of like it's this year where we're trying to just get into our piles of death and sell the stuff we already have on eBay. We also wanted just to eat out of our pantry and our freezer. We have, we had a big freezer. We had 2 big freezers.
We put one away.
We emptied out one and just put it up.
Yeah.
And are just eating out of one. I was like, how long can we eat this stuff? Because, it's not good just to buy and just hold it
and never
forever.
Eat it. Yeah.
But we actually stopped at our favorite, grocery store outlet.
Why did we go there? I know we had to go to that town where we oh, I know what it was. This is the worst. So the grocery outlet we go to, right? We're like, okay, we don't need that much stuff, but I want some salsa and it costs 50 cents here. So I'm like, I gotta get some of that, whatever. And then you end up finding the deals.
As scavengers, when you're in that environment,
you have to get the deals.
Can't. So anyway, we broke our pantry challenge and we spent about $200, and they had frozen. What do they call them?
They're falafels.
Yeah,
delicious.
99 cents for 10 of them.
Yeah,
this is good. It's vegetarian.
Yeah,
come on, we bought 20.
We bought a bunch of them.
What is a great deal? We got bags of Starbucks coffee for $3.
Okay, the Starbucks coffee, here's the deal. We got them and we were like, yeah, this is really good, but we don't want to spend more than $200, and we were buying olive oil. That's expensive, blah, blah, blah. And then we get home and we try the coffee and we're like, this is really good coffee. We need to go back. And it was all gone. I mean, I'm talking a pallet full of coffee and the next day gone.
Normally it sells for $11, $12.
And it was $3.
We got it for $3. Well, we did get 20 packs or something.
That's not enough.
So anyway. But, so anyway, our goal is not to overbuy, but we're just trying to buy smart. We try and buy healthy.
Yeah.
But when there's a good deal, we buy in bulk and we,
and we just eat on it.
So that coffee will last us, I don't know, who knows, half
a year or so, more maybe. Yeah. But I think the idea with the grocery outlet that you have to be careful of if you have one of these in your area is they have a lot of junk food. I mean, a lot of junk food, a lot of frozen microwave meals.
That would be delicious,
Oh, dude, some of that food, I'm like that, especially if you go there hungry, which you should not.
It'd be so good and so gross.
And so bad for you and super high calories. So you have to avoid those. Or you get one and you're like, I'll try one, and then that's it, whatever. But that's the only thing about the grocery outlets is there's a lot of junk food, but when you find the healthy, fancy food, you're like, whoa, this is so cheap, almond milk. We got all this almond milk for 99 cents a thing, which is
about
super cheap.
A third of the price.
A third of the price. So when you can find, they don't always have that, but
So is this show about eBay? Are we talking about this about?
No, it's called Scavenger Life.
Extreme couponing?
This is why we're scavengers.
I know.
Just about eBay.
So this week, when I'm reading the comments,
yes,
I'm hearing people, they're, not everyone's having a winter sales, this is the time when their sales should be the best. Like, if they're going to make any money, it's got to be now. Some people aren't feeling it, and I get that. I was thinking about that, the very common phrase, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
And I think for us, that's always been true. That we've always seen this as like a long-term plan. Like, even when we were starting on eBay, we knew it wasn't going to solve all our problems
right away. Yeah.
Right away. And, we started on eBay in 2008, so it's been a while since we started a store and tried to remember what it was like in the beginning. But I was thinking, as we start this renovation on this new rental that we have, it's kind of that same feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, here we are, we bought this place.
Yeah.
We think it's going to take us 6 months. It could be longer.
Right.
But 6 months to get it fixed up and
the way we want it, yeah.
And it scares me,
Yeah, I said it the other day, and you were like, "What? What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Jesus."
Well,
buy another house.
I think I was trying to balance my fear with our past experience,
right?
Knowing that it will solve it, but it's not going to be an immediate payoff.
Yeah,
and we have a lot of problems we have to solve between now and then, and that would just be like, if we're starting another eBay, we're starting a new eBay store,
right?
An eBay business,
right?
Do you feel that way, that you're willing to put in the time, and that when you get worried about something, that it's going to be okay in the long run?
No, but I think part of it is like with a renovation like this, or any project that we do, we know that we can stop at any time that we need to, as long as we can pay the mortgage. And that's what we did with both houses. Both houses, if we were like, we have to pay this kind of big bill, so let's not have people work this week. That's just what you have to do. If you can balance that out, you're not like finishing this house for someone else. It's like, it's on our timeline, whatever we want it to be. So that makes me feel better about things, because I'm like, we can just go like this for a second and then expand again if we need to, when we can.
People can't see that your hands are going in
and out. Like, you can,
it's like an accordion.
Yeah, exactly. So that is what makes me feel better. We continued to scavenge for the other house. That is something we've been doing, is trying to buy stuff on Craigslist and at the Restore. So that's part of scavenging when you're doing a renovation and you're giving yourself time to not buy everything brand new at Lowe's right when it needs to get installed. So that's fun, actually, because if you can get good deals, then you feel better about buying stuff. Because
this a rental we bought, absolutely, we could just go in there, get rid of all the junky stuff that's in there, do a quick clean. I mean, we could rent it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But because we're going to take the time, it was built in 73. They probably did an update in like 98. So it's been almost 20 years since really anything's been done to it.
But that update, I don't know what they did, because it still looks like the 70s. So
that's a good thing about us being willing to take the time to fix it up, is because we can find these deals.
Yeah. Yeah. So that to me is fun. Like, all this morning I was on my laptop, like, researching how to do certain things, and that barbecue grill we bought, like, hardly works.
Right. Ryan found a really nice, like, a Gin Air.
Oh, did we even talk about this before?
No.
Oh, we, like, scavenged a barbecue grill that in the photos looked really small to me. I was like, oh, it's cute. It's, like, perfect. Thing's a friggin' monster. It has, like 5 burners.
Stainless steel. It's, like, one of those huge, big things. But the problem is the interior we need to redo. Super dirty. Like the igniters and stuff.
Igniters don't work and blah, blah, blah. But, so, stuff like that where you're like, okay, it was only $100. It's a $1,000 grill. And now I know why it was $100. Because, like, you got to fix all the parts in it. But,
But it's all fixable.
It's all fixable. That's the thing. If you are, like, dedicated enough to research the parts, which is, to me, annoying, but I think I can do it.
Right.
So anyway, that stuff ultimately is fun to us.
Right. I mean, to me, it's all about whether it be you're running your eBay business or this rental or just anything in life. You know, we just saw this movie called The
Martian.
A Martian with Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Yep, with Matt Damon. It was good, right?
I love Matt Damon. He's great.
But it was cool, though. You know, he's, like, stranded on Mars, and he has to, like... Basically, he's, like, solving problems to survive.
On Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, but, you know, and then, you know, at the end, his big thing is like, you know, everything's going to go wrong, and you just have to start solving problems.
Yeah.
And then you'll figure it out.
Right. And you know what?
And it's true.
You say that to me all the time when I'm freaking out. And then I always solve the problem.
Right.
So I don't know why I can't remember that.
So I think it's just like it's with anything, and that's what we've tried to learn to do. We aren't always good at it. But, you know, when things are going wrong or they feel like they're going wrong or we just don't feel good.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that happens. You just don't feel good.
You're like, ugh.
I just try and latch onto what's the first problem that we can work on.
Yeah.
And then we do that.
And also, YouTube helps.
Yeah. Because they
how to replace gas grill igniter.
Exactly. So anyway, let's talk about our numbers on our eBay store. It's this week. Oh, and I do want to say, this week was one of those weeks where at least I didn't spend a lot of time doing eBay work. You know, like
I don't think we did
taking photos or a listing, because it was one of those weeks where we would have to meet someone at like 1 o'clock.
Ugh, yeah.
So it's kind of, we don't do a lot in the morning, and then by the time we meet the person and come home, then it's just, you don't feel like actually working on eBay. And so...
Yeah, days were drained.
So every day we just never really got going. So I only took pictures of like one pile of stuff all week.
But yesterday we worked together and did another pile.
True.
So we did get quite a few things cleared out.
Right.
So that was good.
But sometimes it happened.
But...
However, our numbers were very good this week.
Yes.
For us. So in our main store, we sold 37 items, and we made a little over $1,800.
Wow.
Which is good. You know, our average price sold was almost $50.
Yay.
Which was good.
Yep.
And then you listed 44 items in that store.
Wow, I don't remember doing that at all.
I think some of them are some of those art auctions. So
we have art auctions going on, right. So that's kind of a I think that's all 44. It was me relisting things that didn't sell, but something sells every time, so I keep relisting them.
Bonanza, we didn't sell anything, right?
No Bonanza sales.
So in our second store, we sold 17 items for over $600.
That is so awesome. I want our other store to sell like that all the time.
So between the two stores, we made almost $2,500.
Yay.
Which is way over $300 a day average. And that's great for us. I mean, this feels like the holiday to us.
Right.
You know?
I want it to continue like this.
Okay, so some of the things we sold this week. We sold a vintage steel tube bed. It's like for $100.
Okay, so it's this vintage bed. It's made out of like steel tubes. If you picture a bed that looks like kind of like a brass bed, but it was made out of like steel and cast iron. We bought it at a yard sale for $5. $3 even. It definitely needed a new paint job, or they could have left it to look shabby. It was a cool looking bed. And we had a ton of questions. Someone actually bought it before and then never picked it up. And so this person bought it for $100. She actually organized with a uship.com shipper to come pick it up. Although I will say this, she never told us that she organized with someone. The shipper called us directly. Now Jay's just like, whatever, it's fine.
And Ryan's very upset about this.
No, I just think it's bizarre. So the U-Shipper guy calls us, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to pick this up at 1 a.m. So I just thought that was a little bit insane. It was like, okay.
Just be clear. Okay, so we've been selling a lot of furniture lately for some reason. But it's great. It's one reason why we've been able to get rid of one of our storage areas. And this time, the buyer bought it, and she says, can you ship it to me? We said, no, it's local pickup. Or... you can figure it out on your own. And she did.
Yeah.
So the guy who came to pick it up, he called me one night and said, can I come at 1? Or I'm just going to sleep in my truck in town and pick it up early. And I didn't want to wake up early. I'd rather just stay up late. You know? And he was a nice guy. And it's just one of these guys who, I guess he makes a living. It was him and his wife. They had like a big pickup truck with a big trailer on the back. Yeah. And he drives up and down the East Coast. And in the back of his trailer, he had like a motorcycle, surfboards, furniture, you know. Yeah. And he just goes up and down, picks stuff up on the east, and then goes down south and drops it off. And probably does the same thing coming back up.
Goes back up.
I guess it's kind of an adventure for him.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's that show where they do that. I forget what it's called. It's a reality show. Oh, yeah. And it's uship.com people who bid on it. And it's just like those guys.
Shipping
like,
Wars.
Yeah, that's what it is. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. And like, it's one of those guys. I mean, he's not on the show, but it's one of those guys that makes a living doing it. Well, I will give you all the credit for that because you dealt with that. You stayed up. You helped him put it in his truck. Well, I was sleeping.
It was easy.
I know it was easy, but I'm just like...
But I think it's for us, if you guys have been listening for the past month, and you've been hearing we've been selling furniture every week, and it's been done in a different way. We've either been willing to bring it to people for free. Sometimes, one time someone paid us to deliver it. Some people come and pick it up themselves, or now, you know, someone paid to have it pick up. And so it's... it makes me want to buy more furniture.
No, I think we should. I think we should buy more furniture in the future. I think it's worth it to do it.
I never thought that you could sell furniture on eBay. Yeah. I never thought that.
No, I know. And it's been great. I wish we could do it more. I wish we had a huge barn and I would sell furniture and just have people come pick it up or pay me to deliver it. That'd be great. So we sold a chandelier. It was from the 1930s. It was union made in the USA. It was called a wedding cake chandelier. You can look them up on eBay.
It was cool. It wasn't like one of those kind of like fancy all it's glass or all it's crystal. It was like made out of metal, brass or steel with some glass, but it looked...
It was Art Deco. Yeah, it was Art Deco.
I wanted to keep it.
You wanted to keep it. I hate chandeliers. I don't want to keep them. I don't want to clean them. I think they're ugly. We sold it for $260. Yep. I think we bought it for $5.
Yep. We sold, and some of the stuff Ryan did put in the video. We sold 2 king-size sheet sets.
Okay, they're not sheet sets. They were just flat sheets.
Just a flat sheet?
That's it!
2 king-size
flat sheets.
For $150. I didn't believe it.
It was they were 80 each, so they were $160 total. I bought those at a thrift store for $6 each, and I remember you were like, okay. And then they sold the next week for $80 each.
Yeah. Amazing.
That is a great sale.
We sold 2 pairs of vintage
glasses.
Eyeglasses.
So one was a prescription glasses, Christian Dior prescription glasses. The person has to get their own lenses in them. Those sold for $80. That was an amazing sale. The other pair was a pair of sunglasses. And they were very, like, European 1960s, like, mod glasses. And a few months ago, someone messaged us and said, these look exactly like the sunglasses that Dennis Hopper wears in Easy Rider. And I Googled the image, and they were, like, the exact same glasses. And I couldn't find them for sale anywhere. So I doubled the price to $120.
And put that
in the title. Right. And someone gave me an offer of $113.
Yeah.
And I said yes, of course.
So that was nice.
Whew.
We sold a tape deck, like
a
audio,
dubbing deck.
Yeah, and an audio.
It was a Sony like semi-professional deck. It's not a cheap deck.
Sold it for $80.
It was $80 just because it's cassettes.
I don't really like to sell electronics because number one, it's hard to ship, or it takes a lot to ship. And
ask Steven Schultz; he knows.
Yeah. I mean, he's selling stuff for like $500, $1,000. I get that.
Yeah.
We're always just finding more contemporary kind of stuff. $80. We sold a boom box for $60.
That was a good one. Also, a pain in the ass to ship because it was like 20 inches long. I'm like, oh, what box is this going to fit in? I did find one, but
We sold some Ferragamo Chukka boots.
$120.
Yep. That's a nice...
it's so great when you sell one thing for over $100. Yeah. That's, like, so great.
We sold a lot of flashlights.
They're mag lights. Right. These are professional flashlights by like, security companies and police and military.
And so we sold, I don't know, there were like maybe 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah, there are like 6 of them.
For $80. But the thing was, so it looked like maybe a security company had gone out of business because they were all kind of beat up and people's names or scratches on them. Some of them didn't have light bulbs. I mean, they were like kind of a grab bag. But this is why I love eBay. Yeah. Because you couldn't sell this on Etsy because it's not vintage. You can't really sell them on Amazon that I know of because they're in too bad a shape. But you can sell it on eBay, and we were very clear. Some need bulbs, they just kind of as is. Yeah. And someone bought them.
For $80.
If someone knows how to fix them all up, they'll be great.
I mean, the great thing is mag lights are very high quality, so people pay a lot of money for them, even a used one. So a lot of 6 for $80 is a great price.
Yeah. We sold the rest of those
the soffit vents.
We've talked about them, how we got them at an auction, for $1 for a whole table full. We found a big box of these packages of vents.
How many lots do we have? 16 lots?
There were 17
lots of 6.
Right, and we would sell each bag of them for $12 or $13.
Yeah,
right?
13.
So some guy bought the rest of them, and we made another
50, 60 bucks. Yeah.
I mean, it's the kind of thing where I wish I could find a wholesaler and buy them and sell them.
Like so cheap.
But that's the thing.
Yeah, that's just no fun.
We wouldn't make the kind of profit we're making now
because we got them essentially for
free. We would
free.
Buy them for like $9, sell them for $13, and just
just ugh. So another cool sale was this vintage pipe holder. It was a solid copper pipe holder.
A smoking pipe.
Yeah. Smoking pipe, yeah. And so that's on one side. And then on the other side was a little jar with a top to keep the tobacco in. We saw that at the thrift store. I think we got it for like $3.
It was like hammered copper.
It was hammered copper. It said solid copper on the bottom. And we were like, that is so awesome. And we sold it the next week for $70.
And because there are people on the blog, like I think Matt and
they talk about pipes.
They talk about pipes.
Pipes are a big deal,
and it's true. And now anything I see that's about smoking pipes,
we get it. Yep. So this was a funny sale. We went to a thrift store. It was just the other week, and I'm really into napkin rings. Not in my own life, but like people are into napkin rings and place settings, and for meals and weddings and whatever. So we found these 2 boxes of teak napkin rings made in Japan.
You
found them. They're vintage. There were 6 in each box. And we were talking to this guy who runs a thrift store, and we were like, oh, these are cool. He's like, I don't know what they are. They're like game pieces or something. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to say anything because I want to see what the price is. He's like, $1. I'm like, great. And then I sold them for $50 for the set of 12.
Yep. So and we've been doing well with place
settings,
napkin rings, because I guess it's a holiday time and people are actually planning little
meals.
Events,
exactly.
I sold my last truck emblem for a Silverado.
Yes, we had 3 of them.
Yeah, so I bought 3 of them for $5, and we sold them for
$35 each.
Over 100, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great sale.
And then the last thing we wanted to talk about, Ryan sold her old water pick,
So check this out. I bought this water pick used at a thrift store.
For it's cleaning your teeth.
Yeah, it's cleaning your teeth. It's like a water flosser.
It's never really known about this.
This is why. Did your sisters have braces?
No, none of us did.
Okay, none of you had braces. That's why. My sister and I both had braces, and that's how you floss your teeth. You do floss your teeth regular with braces, with little things. But the water pick was like my savior. So I had braces from when I was 12 until I was 16. I had braces for like 4.5 years.
Wow. Metal mouth.
I was just like, forever. And so I had one of those. So we got one recently at a thrift store for $5. I cleaned it up. I cleaned it with vinegar and hydrogen peroxide. It was fine. And I used it for a long time. And then you found one that connects right to the faucet.
Because I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. And so but I didn't like the whole you have to fill up the
plug it in, put it away.
So I just found one that you just put an attachment onto a sink.
Yeah, we bought it on Amazon.
And then you can just turn it on or off.
It's awesome. Actually, I was really skeptical. I was like, no way. It's so much better. But so I cleaned up the water pick and I put it on eBay for $40. I think they're new for $50.
Yeah. Well,
and someone bought it.
Anna talked on Amazon, and you can buy them. It's new for $50 to $70. Yeah.
So this guy,
it's in good shape. I mean,
yeah. So no, it's fine. It works fine. And the funny thing is, we have another water pick, the exact same model that I'm about to list because, like, I don't know, we had 2 of them. So
I mean, I think there are people, and I might be is one of those people where if I can buy one that's in good shape for $40 instead of buying one new for $70, I'll buy the one for $40.
Yeah, and like for me, my thing too is I'd rather pay an individual than like some company on Amazon, although it could be an individual on Amazon selling it. But a lot of times I'm just like, I'd rather give them my money. It's going to be fine, whatever, you know.
Okay. Before we go on, if you didn't have its braces for those 3 years or 4 years.
4 years.
Would your teeth be just like crazy?
Yeah.
Really?
My teeth would not be.
So you would look like a scary person with like your teeth are all like going all over the place.
I don't know because I got them like right when I got my adult teeth. Like, you know, my teeth had like just grown in and they're like, you need braces right away. The weird thing is my mom and my dad have perfect teeth. My mom's teeth are beautiful.
I guess I always just wonder if it's like a racket where like a dentist or orthodontist are just like because I can remember our dentist tried to push braces on me
and you were like hell
and
no.
my sisters and my mom was like no because I mean
your teeth are beautiful.
I have a little bit of an overbite though.
Oh really?
I don't know. I mean
but it's fine.
You know it's not perfect.
Yeah,
but it's good enough. And my mom was like you're crazy. I'm not.
I had to not know my teeth. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. One of my adult teeth, this one was like, what do they call it? Impacted. So like it was just like missing. They're like, we don't know where that tooth is. So they did an X-ray, and it was like way up in the roof of my mouth. It took a year to move it down. Like, what would I have done? I just would have like no tooth right there. Like, cool. What the hell?
You would have fit right in.
Yeah, exactly.
Here in the country.
So that was my situation. Yeah. I think my sister had not that bad, but it was like weird overbite. She had to wear like headgear. So
cool.
It was very expensive. My mom will like rant about it. She's like, it's crazy, but it helped me.
All right. Well, that was some tooth tangents. Customer issues. So
yes.
We sold a table. I think we had talked about this for $75. It was like $175. It was like a Danish modern table,
and I shipped it.
And the only reason why we shipped it was we could unscrew the legs, and
it was a side table,
flat.
Yeah.
But the guy just emailed us and said he put it together, and it's not like strong enough for him. It
wasn't staying together.
He says it's not that he didn't say it would stay together, just like it's not stable enough for him.
Yeah.
You know, and that could be because he's not putting it together right, or it's his own. Anyway,
yeah.
So he was like, "What can we do?" And so we just did what we always do. What do you think is a fair partial refund?
He suggested the partial refund. I will give him credit for that because he was like, I could ship it back or we could do a partial refund, which is great.
Right, but then we said, how much do you think is fair? We always think that's the best thing. Is like
because sometimes they'll do way less than
he said. $75, and we said sure. So we gave it.
Why
to him.
are you sighing? Because you didn't want to give him that much.
Because $75 is a lot of
money. I know.
I mean, it was a nice table, and you know, it's question his concern, but you know, it's all in the eye of the beholder. So
it was one of those things where the hilarious thing to me was you were like, if he says more than $60, I'm going to say just ship it back, and then he said 75, and you were like, just give it to him.
It was close enough. I mean,
it's like, okay.
My thing is that if he was going to ask for more than it would cost
to ship back,
yeah, I would just be like, let's just get it back. We'll resell it or
I'll use it
and put him through the. You know, I mean, if he really doesn't want this thing, then we'll just take it back. But anyway, it's all.
It was one of those like, let's just solve this problem and forget about it.
So it was fun.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was we sold like a a piece of slate.
It's a cheese board.
A slate cheese board. And it was new in the box, and on the box it said, it had a piece of chalk in it. And the woman got it, and she said there wasn't a piece of chalk in it. And she was like, send me some chalk. And we were like, Jesus, lady. But, it's true.
It is
we
true.
We said it had chalk. It didn't have chalk. So we were like, here's $5. Go buy some chalk. And
we're like, chalk at Walmart costs $1. And the thing that drove me crazy was, at first I thought she paid $40 for it. I'm like, all right, she paid $40. I'll give her $5. She actually paid $26 for this thing. I'm like, lady, you're killing me here. Yeah, so I just gave her $5 back, and she was happy.
She was right, though.
She was right.
Okay, some news. If you don't have healthcare,
right,
you can sign up at healthcare.gov. And you have only a couple more days to sign up in order to get full coverage for 2016.
So go do it.
So, we're not shills for healthcare.gov.
Okay, look. Healthcare.gov is giving you the ability to buy private healthcare. You're not buying healthcare from the government.
Right. So, if you don't have healthcare and if you're an independent eBay person, just check it out. The reason why they built the site was so you could buy healthcare like if you buy anything on Amazon. You just go in there, you put in some info. It's not very complicated, and they give you a number. Like, here are 5 choices. This is how much it will cost you, and these are your deductibles, and then you it worked for us.
Say yes or no.
Yeah. Another thing is, about a month ago, eBay started to push the Seller Hub.
The new Seller Hub.
And, it would ask us every time we logged in, and we would just say, no. And now I don't see it anymore. And I know some people did join the Seller Hub.
So how's it going? That's what we're asking.
And is eBay, are they, not pushing it anymore? Or maybe they're going through a period of, those people that did sign up, they're doing testing.
I would love to know about it.
It's basically the Seller Hub, it replaces the a manager dashboard.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I have not been paying attention until it's in my face.
But the thing that looked good was it had better stats. And I'd love to know if those stats are helping people, if they're improving.
So people, please tell us.
Yep. Last week on the podcast, I mentioned a guy in his 60s. Yes. And I didn't... it's mentioned him by name because I didn't think anyone would care. And, because I didn't think it was really important to the story. And anyway, he's a blogger, and he wrote this good post about, saving enough money.
Yeah.
FU money is the way he calls it. That's that would give him, that has given him in his life the power to say no to people.
Yes.
To say no to jobs.
Yep.
To be able to go to employers and say, I want this, and be willing to walk away if they say no.
Yeah.
And him saying that, in fact, having that it's money and being able to say no means employers have wanted him more.
Yeah.
Anyway, he actually emailed us, or he called us actually,
because you linked to it in the blog post,
and he said that people were coming to his blog and he found us. So I guess
that was kind of cool.
Good for everyone for going and following our links. But he's a good guy. He's definitely kind of, I didn't really know it so much, but he's kind of really internet famous in kind of the early retirement world,
Yeah, another bubble.
And I talk about that world kind of because I think all of us here are kind of a part of that,
definitely.
Like a subculture. A group of people who are, trying to get out of the rat race, and we all have it's different ways of doing it. Some people are just investing all their money in index funds,
right?
Like it's Mr. Money, a mustache. Some people are buying all real estate.
Yeah.
Some people like us, are selling on eBay, and we're also buying some real estate too,
and also have a video production company. Let's figure that one out. Did you want to mention his name? You didn't say his name.
Oh yeah, so his name is Jim Collins.
Jim Collins, J.L. Collins.
Yep, and he's got a good blog. He's got this great series of posts that people always talk about, his stock series, where if you don't know anything about stocks, he really goes through and just talks about it in easy to understand.
Nice.
Blah blah blah. The reason why I'm talking about this, he reached out to us. He said, "I like what you're doing. We're gonna write a guest post for his blog." Mm-hmm. And I said, we want to interview him.
Yeah.
Because I thought he would be interesting to interview from, our point of view.
Yeah.
So he said, ask your listeners if they have any questions for him.
Cool.
So on our blog, I'm going to link to him.
Yeah.
You can check him out. And if you have any questions, tell us.
Yeah.
And we'll ask him. Yeah, and so I think that our community kind of intrigues him because, he deals more with like people that have jobs and save money and then retire early, that kind of world. Like it's Mr. Money, a mustache. Whereas our community, I think, intrigues him because we don't make our money,
like with paychecks.
Traditional way.
Yeah.
So I think that's what will make the interview interesting.
Cool.
Yep.
You have a new friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so things we learned in the comments this week. It's Brian from Grandma's Treasures.
Yes. Grandma's Treasures.
I love the name of the store because he lives in
Manhattan or whatever, close to Manhattan.
Yeah, but he's Grandma's Treasures.
I know.
So he explained why having more items in your store doesn't mean you can expect exponentially more income. Because, that's always the argument we have. Is like, why is it that, I'm making the same money at 2,500 items now that I have 5,000 items?
Right.
I'm not quite sure if that's quite true, but it does mean that the money, our profit, hasn't exponentially grown.
Right.
And what he says is that because he works, I guess, in the ad world, the advertising world, that's a well-known fact, and it's called oversaturation.
Or the law of diminishing returns.
Right. So if McDonald's can grow, but at a certain point, they can keep advertising and keep opening more stores, but their money doesn't keep
it's not
growing
exponential.
because there's a saturation of hamburgers. Right. And I guess it's the same thing with eBay. Like you can sell shoes and you can keep selling shoes, but at some point there's just a saturation of shoes on the market. I don't know. It's interesting. It makes sense to me.
Right, exactly. There's a plateau that happens at a certain point, and we totally saw that. We totally see it.
But as we've always said, though, us having a larger store, even though we aren't making exponentially more profit, what it does, though, is it gives us a bigger cushion. So, like this week we talked about, we really didn't do a lot of eBay.
Right.
Shipping, a lot of...
Yeah, sure, shipping.
Shipping, that's good, but we didn't list a lot of take pictures because we're doing other things. But as we've talked about, we've had a really good week on eBay because we put that work in. Yeah.
So that's how we think of it. Right. I mean, we do love to, we got to list 100 things this week. But, does that mean we're going to make, X amount more dollars? Probably not. Yeah. It's just going to be like a steady flow.
So a couple of people on the blog, it was actually 3 people this week, said they came on and they left a comment and they said that they were going full time on eBay. Friend Asiska and Zoli and Will Jackson.
That's amazing.
And each of them are kind of coming in from different points of view. Like one lost a job and so was like, I don't really have a choice. I either try and get another job or try this. Right. Another one was like, I have a young child. I just don't want to not be around for this young child. So I'm going to do it. And it's smart, allowing themselves to have 6 months to actually build the business up. And this guy, Will, is like, I have like 7 kids.
Yes, that was incredible.
Is it 7, 6
Something
kids?
like that.
And they range from like 23 to like young.
9 or whatever.
Yeah. And so I think for him, too, it's also about spending time with
being
the kids.
with your family.
But, it's good to see people jump in and do it.
Yeah, it's amazing to hear it. It always is.
That being said, I've noticed that there are people, and I've said it, it's mentioned it earlier, saying that eBay's been slow. Yeah. Like they aren't getting the kind of holiday sales that they expected.
But I do want to make a note. You need to do your numbers because if you don't, and it's funny that I'm saying this because I'm like, I don't want to know the numbers until the end of the week because you might be doing better than you think. I had no idea we made $2,500 this week. That's awesome, Yeah. That's a holiday week, know?
Yeah,
just make sure you.
But I think some people, even if they've done its numbers, they aren't happy. And I guess, and I read on this a woman's blog, is she says it bothers her that I guess when she feels like she's not allowed to complain about eBay, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think my point is like, it's not like you can't complain about eBay. Like, we complain about eBay.
Yeah.
Like, why are you changing interface stuff in the middle of holiday season? You know,
That's insane.
Why can't a buyer buy something? You know, like, you can complain. I think for me, it's always just about like, okay, where are you going to spend your time? You know?
Right.
Like, how much can you complain?
Right.
And then at some point, it's just like we talked about, you know, being trapped on Mars. You know, you have to just start solving problems. So if eBay isn't working for you, you know, either sell different stuff, you know, end your listings and list them again to try and give a boost. I don't know. I mean,
I don't recommend that, but yeah, it's okay.
I guess to me, it's all about getting into action.
Yes.
Try selling on other platforms. Try on Amazon or on Etsy. It seems like a lot of people, thanks to Omfug, has been like,
try Etsy.
Etsy seems to be doing well for people.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Basically, the point is you need to do something. Because complaining is just, like, you can complain and be like, this sucks. And then move on, you know?
Right.
Have your day, be productive, or don't.
You know, I think it's good, any platform, whether it be eBay or Amazon or Etsy, any platforms, they need to hear from people if something doesn't work.
Right, if it's really
But then at some point, you have to decide that they aren't going to solve the problem for you. And so you just have to and work around that. I mean, you know, I'm on some forums where people, you know, sell on Amazon, and, you know, those people have
same problem.
They got their own problems with Amazon. So I think no one platform's ever going to be perfect.
I mean, it's just like, it reminds me of like brick and mortar stores. It's the same. I mean, you're sitting there and you're waiting for people to come in, and you're just like, what am I doing? You know, it's with anything.
Yeah. Or, you know, I don't know if it's so popular these days, but I remember when we first started, there were a lot of people that were starting to sell on their own websites.
Web stores.
You know, they were doing their own web stores. We were like, no way.
I don't know. Yeah.
If you really want control, I mean, that's another way to do it. Just start your own store. But how do people
find your stuff? I don't know. Through Google?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And so, so people seem to really be into selling on Etsy. Like, I don't know if it's because of the holidays or since they went public, there's
more advertising. I think a couple things. They went public, so I think they needed to really ramp up their advertising and sales. I mean, I don't watch television, so I don't know, but I think I went on there today because people are like, I'm selling more on Etsy than I am on eBay. Those are people with smaller stores. Those aren't people with 3,000 things. Those are people with 150 things. Today I was like, I'm going to go on Etsy and I'm going to list a couple things. Mm-hmm. Of course, I wanted to list the hardest thing to list on Etsy, which is furniture, because they make you put shipping information in. You can't list it without shipping, like a price.
Right. It can't be just local pickup.
Yeah, so you can't do which is crazy because a ton of people sell on Etsy. I'm like, okay, Etsy, you have to allow us to do local pickup or freight or something. Well, you can do freight if you have a price. So I asked on the blog, and Sue, who is UmfugX, said you should go look at what other people who sell furniture do, which is like,
she's like, look it up, like, dummy.
Good for her. Which was so funny because I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I should do. So I did do that, and what people do is they just say right in the listing, you know, send me a message about shipping and we'll work it out, because it's either local pickup or freight, and you got to figure it out. Exactly what we do on eBay. So anyway, I think I am going to put some furniture on Etsy because...
Why not just put some of the nicer items we have?
And those too. I am going to do that too. But I have some really high-end stuff, like the barber chair from the new rental cabin that I'm putting up, and I would love to get more exposure on stuff like that.
I mean, we've said it before that Etsy didn't work for us, so we've always been...
That was in the beginning.
So we've always been down on Etsy. You know, then we did the interview with a younger couple who sell almost exclusively on Etsy and make a full-time income. Yeah. So, you know, we're always glad it's proven wrong. I think it's great. I hope that Etsy gives eBay a run for its money on vintage stuff, because then it might force eBay to be more... It's receptive to smaller sellers that are selling the weirder kind of items.
I think they are more receptive, and people can argue with that, but I think they are. I just think they're, you know, a million times bigger than Etsy. I mean, they're so huge.
I think to me, I think my thing is like, I just don't expect a lot from these companies. Like, I expect the websites to work. Yeah. And just for someone to be able to like find the page and buy. You know, as long as that stuff is working, I don't expect anything else from them. eBay, or if we sold on Amazon or Etsy, it's like, you know, I don't expect them to make me successful.
I wish they would put my stuff on the front page, because then it would sell. Right. That'd be nice. Please do that for me.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's all that should be done, right? That people who want to buy stuff can buy stuff easily and quickly.
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, what else are they supposed to do for you?
Yeah. I guess when people have slow stores, and we've had those times too. Again, it all just comes in these periods. You know, it's quiet, it's not quiet, you know. Yeah. When it's quiet, we start grasping for straws to what the problem is. And so sometimes it can be like someone's doing something to me.
It's not our fault.
You know, we understand that. I guess my thing is I just try and route around other people, because I can't control other people, whether it be a company or people. So I'm just like, all right, let's do something else.
You know, Etsy only allows 5 photos.
Really?
That seems insane to me.
Wow.
I was like uploading photos, and it's like, you've reached your limit of 5 photos. I'm like, no, 5 photos. Wow. So I'll have to figure that out.
Yeah. So our coming week, this week, I really want to get back into...
let me guess. Listing on eBay.
Yeah. Yeah. See, guys, like, I don't think...
really want to get...
I don't think you realize sometimes this podcast is used to kind of talk to each other.
Yeah. So. Look, I want to, too. I have, like, 6 folders of stuff that just has to go up, and when you're, like, trying to meet contractors at the house like 2 times a day to look at the house, it just kills your day.
We're not gonna schedule any of those this week.
And so that's exactly
all. Because, you know, it still is the Christmas holiday.
Yeah, I know you're
season.
right.
People are still buying for the holiday season, and like everyone says, for us, traditionally, January has been a great month because people are buying stuff for themselves that they didn't get bought for.
Or they got cash for Christmas, so they're spending it.
Cool. So we're going to answer some questions that people have either called in or emailed us.
And the phone number is 540-407-8486. It is on the blog. You can see it there as well.
So the first question we'll just answer, because we've gotten some emails about this. We got some just recently, and we get them every so often. So we've talked about how we like to sell wool rugs. Yes. And people are like, wow, you can make a lot of money selling wool rugs. So people are buying wool rugs. Okay, cool. So, but then we get these questions like, well, how do I identify it, you know? And I just want to stress to people, like, this is the deal. We do not identify a wool rug beyond what the label says. So if it has a label, we'll write down what the label says. But very often these rugs are vintage and there is no label.
I will say this. I will try my best to get an idea of where it's from. Is it Persian? Is it Indian? Is it Turkish?
How?
By the design.
And how do you...
Okay, so like... Okay, there's these rugs that we have that have little animals on them. They're called Gaba rugs. And they are from Iran. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people think they're Indian, but they're not. So I know that because I bought them for myself. So now I will never forget that.
So how did you find that out? I think that's what people like. It's a website?
I literally Googled wool rug with monkeys on it. Because I was like, what is this? Right. It's got to have a name. So I found it that way.
Right.
But like, you know, here's the deal. I'm sure some like wool rug expert is going to look at my listing and be like, you are totally wrong. That is not a Turkish rug at all. But I know that there's some hipster in Brooklyn looking for Turkish rugs, and mine's coming up. Right. So I am making mistakes. I am not an expert. I am doing my best. So when people email us, help me identify, I have no idea what I'm doing, you know?
I mean, I guess my point is, you know, people will send us photos, and it just looks like, to me, it's just like a cool Persian rug.
Right, exactly.
It could be Turkish. I guess my point is it doesn't matter. And very often we just list it as Turkish, Persian, distressed wool rug. And that's enough for most people, because these are people that they could either go to IKEA or Pottery Barn and buy the distressed wool rug that they buy newly
distressed. It's fake distressed.
And it's just made in China. But it's just a replica of just like a Turkish or whatever.
Exactly.
So they aren't really caring about...
Right.
It needs to be from 1820 from Iran, you know.
Right.
Those are a different kind of rug buyer.
Yeah.
And those are probably not who we're selling it to.
I think we're selling it to designers or hipsters or people who want them in their house.
And the other thing is like, well, it's kind of in rough shape. Is that okay? I mean, yes, we always say distress is what people are
want
often
They want holes
for.
in the rug, people.
If it's a nice rug, that's cool too. But you can, I mean, we have sold rugs. We sold a rug that was on someone's patio. So it was like it had been rained on. The sun was on it. It was even kind of a little bit stiff.
Yeah.
Although because it was wool, it was still in good shape. We sold that for a good amount of
like
money.
$200.
Because people put these out on their porches.
Yeah, it's an outdoor rug.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the important thing. Is it wool? You can sell acrylic rugs, fake wool for a good amount of money, but you want to tell people if it's wool or not. And this is how you do it, okay? It's easy. So take a little snippet of the rug, not a big piece, just a little, piece. You get tweezers and you get a little,
or on a fringe or something.
No, not the fringe, because the fringe is cotton. So that's always the fringe is different.
Got it.
The fringe might be wool, but you want the actual surface of the carpet. You can Google how to do a fabric burn test, and there's a great video online about it. So if you burn it and it smells like burning hair, and it's ashy, it doesn't bead up into a plastic bead, that's a natural fiber. If it's acrylic, which is essentially plastic, it's going to smell like burning plastic, and it's going to melt into a plastic bead.
Right.
That's how you tell.
Yep.
So it's important to do a burn test so you can say, this is absolutely wool. Or silk. If you find a silk rug, you're going to make a lot of money. Hand knotted, meaning it's not made by a machine. If you flip it over and it looks... not perfect, a perfect row of weaving, although a lot of hand knotting can be a very, very good knotting. You can usually tell if it's hand knotted.
Yeah.
But you should also Google those images. Hand knotted versus machine made rug.
Yeah.
Just visually figure out what it looks like.
Just to kind of end this real quick.
Let's end this.
It's like artwork,
Yes.
Like we find artwork. Sometimes it has a signature. We can't find the signature anywhere. Often it doesn't. We sell it. We make good money on it.
Right.
But we aren't making thousands of dollars. And some people are like, well, how do you know that that's not by like an ancient master, you know? Why don't you take... And that's the thing. You have to make a choice. Our choice is we do the best research we can. We make a judgment on it. We sell it. We're happy. No regrets.
Right.
And that could be the same true with... a rug. I mean, maybe we found rugs and they're like 1700s, 1300s Chinese rugs. I don't know. We do the best we can and we sell it and we're happy. So it really depends on what you want to do. If you're really worried that you have something that's worth tens of thousands of dollars, then take it to experts and pay the money. We don't like to do that because we find that a lot of these experts are just doing what we're doing.
They're Googling. Yep.
All right, so let's go to some of the questions that people have called in.
Hi, guys. I told you I would follow up about my use of best offer, which is something that I've not done in the past. I started doing this roughly around November 17th, and from November 17th until November 30th, I had 27 offers. I had, $306 worth of sales, and I believe I had, looks like about 11 people bought different things from me using best offer. So that's about $306. And you know what? They were all on, I don't want to say lower end, but they were lower end stuff, like somewhere between 40 and 20 bucks a pop. That's a pretty good deal, I think. I mean, and it was older stock, so it was nice to feel like I was doing more and getting more stuff out the door. Now, I'm going to go back and look at what we were doing this time frame last year and just do some comparison to see if it was just more movement that made me feel like we were making more, or whether this would have been happening anyway. But I get a sense that it's probably a good thing, and it's definitely something that has helped us, and I think it's product that would not have otherwise sold having not done best offer. That's the first thing. The second thing is, how do you, and maybe you don't, do you correlate volume to your percentage of sales? Like, for example, do you find that you have diminishing returns, so to speak? For example, if you had 2,000 items, do you think your percentage turnover would be the same as if you have 4,500 items? I'm just curious because I've always wondered about that myself. It seems to me that no matter the level of skill of the seller, there's some sort of diminishing returns, and the percentage of sell-through declines. So maybe that's a dumb question. I was just curious about whether you had any opinions about that. Thanks, guys, and have a great week.
So that's awesome that you added best offer and you started seeing sales. We add best offer to a lot of things. I would say most things that are like over $50. Although sometimes I price things and I'm like, I know I want, this price. But people can send you a message when you take an offer, and I say yes. As far as diminishing returns, that is a phrase that clearly we just learned since we just talked about it. And yes, we do see diminishing returns. After 2,500 items, we plateaued.
Yeah, but there's not a set. I hear people talk about after they have 500 items. It's all, right. It's that equation we talk about.
Yeah.
The equation is what kind of items you're selling, what price are you selling,
Yeah. Well, also that part of the equation, like we were saying, is how long are you going to go in some months without listing or doing anything? Because, for us, we were traveling and we still made money.
Right.
If you can do that, that's incredible.
I think that we're different than maybe some other people might be. So some people, they think like a corporation. They're like, how do I keep making more and more money? How do I keep growing year after year after year? Because, that's how a corporation is. Like, they're like, we always need more profits and more market share. I think for us, we've always talked about it. We're like little mom and pop store, and we're happy with that.
Yeah.
We're like, we need X amount of money every month to pay our bills. Anything after that is the extra money we use. We're buying rentals. We're like paying debt,
Doing things that are interesting to us.
And so for us, that's just what it's about. And the other part of the equation is just like we want a chill life. You know? Like anything that makes my life not chill is like not worth doing.
Right. Right.
And so that's how it works for us. So just because our profits haven't grown exponentially as our eBay store has grown, doesn't mean we're unhappy. It just means like we're just not making quite as much money as we could.
Right.
And we're fine with that.
Yeah.
Right?
We don't expect like empire building. Like that's not interesting to me. What's interesting to me is like to do cool things every day and be able to pay my bills and then like have extra to do interesting projects. Yeah. So it's goal oriented.
Right. Stay up as late as I want, sleep as much as I want. Like,
stay up late to give people furniture in the driveway at 1 a.m.
That's right.
Hey, Jay and Ryan. This is Rick down here in Oxford, North Carolina, not too far from y'all. I've been listening to your podcast since day one. Me and my mother actually run a store together. Learned a crap ton from you guys. I don't often disagree with too many things. Today's episode, the FU money, where Jay was talking about the belt buckles, the 99-cent belt buckles. I gotta disagree on that one, I guess. Had the lady sent an invoice and maybe, changed the price of shipping, there's an argument there, but, the whole risk of her, having a 99-cent auction is know that she has, 4 pounds of shipping. So even at 99 cents, she's not really losing anything, But, I don't know. The shipping price was stated in the listing. Now, me, myself, I don't do auctions. I hate auctions. Not for me. But, I don't know, man. It was there in the listing, the price of shipping. You knew what you were getting when you bought it. So that's all I got to say about that, man. I'll keep listening, and you guys keep picking. later.
So there were some people that came on the blog this past week because I said I had bought some belt buckles from a woman, and after I bought them, I asked her questions about her shipping cost because she was clearly saying that they weighed more than they did, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I was just asking her, could she check how much they weighed and charge me for what they weighed? And her answer simply was, you got it cheap. You saw how much I was going to charge. Yeah. Why are you complaining? And then I kind of pushed the issue a little bit, like, I just want to pay what it's worth.
Yeah.
You know, like,
the shipping.
Like, don't charge me extra.
Right.
And then she basically canceled the sale because she didn't want to deal with me. Okay. I admit, and I did it publicly in the blog, she had every right to do that. Yep. And I was being like a grumpy buyer.
You were pushy, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and so, fair enough, you know.
Yep.
I didn't leave her bad feedback or neutral feedback. I just didn't leave her any feedback.
Yeah.
And it's just the way it was. But I will stand by my point, though. That's not... it's okay if you want to sell things for 99 cents on the internet, but then I do think it's just like a really bad form to then think you're going to make up the profit by charging extra to ship it. And if you want to do that, I think it needs to be in the handling charge. Like... not to say something weighs 4 pounds when it weighs a pound.
Right.
You should just say, I charge $3 per item just to put it in a box, you know, plus it's whatever it is to ship.
Right.
Like, that would be more honest.
Right.
It's just not honest when you overweigh something trying to make a profit. And I think I had every right to say something. She had every right to cancel it.
Yep.
It's done, you know.
And that being said, she relisted it, and I bought it on another account.
Yeah.
So we got them anyway.
Although we are paying.
But I'm paying what she asked for, and we're not complaining about it because we still wanted them.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Yeah.
I do want to mention something else. I have been buying some like cleaning supplies and like hardware supplies on eBay for doing stuff at the new house, and I put an offer on some like tile sealer stuff. And then the guy wrote back and was like, oh, sorry, I only take offers on quantity. Like, if you want to buy, like, quantity 5. But he doesn't say that anywhere in his listing. So I want to be like, dude, you got to say that in your listing. Like, we'll take offers for over quantity 1.
Right.
So it's like, why waste my time? Because if I saw that, I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to buy it outright. So it's like things like that where you're like, it's fine that he told me that after, but just be clear with people, you know? Just be clear. Like you said, she should charge a flat rate for shipping and be like, this is my shipping cost. Like, explain it to people so people don't feel like they're being ripped off. Just tell them, you know?
Hi, guys. This is Cindy. I really enjoyed the podcast today. I just wanted to let you know, I mean, we do a very similar system, inventory system to what the two of you are thinking about switching over to. And I got to tell you, there are a couple of drawbacks to that system. One of them is if you're your own worst enemy. Like, if you have a lot going on in your mind and you're collecting your packages for the day and you have a whole bunch of items in one slot, or if you bag it, however you do it, if you take a couple items out and then you find the item you're looking for, but you forget to put items back, or worse, you, for convenience sake, put one on top of another box where you're putting everything else back, and then you forget that one, that just becomes a real cluster. So if you're going to do this system, just really make sure that you put things back exactly the way you found them, because I've really screwed myself that way. Found it eventually on time. The other thing you ought to do, my suggestion is, and because we do it and it works very well, is set up a scanner system so that you can just take a scanner and you scan the bar either on the item or on the bag. We have scan bars on our items and on the designated bag. So, and we basically designate our inventory system by date and number. So it would be like, 1201-1, you know what I mean, something like that. But anyway, that way, if you decide someday, many years from now, to lot items together just to clear them out, you can set up a program where you scan this bag, scan that bag, and then you can put it together in your program and throw it up there, and it makes life easier. So anyway, guys, peace.
So yeah, this is good advice. We've talked about, up until now, we've the way we store everything is we just put them in plastic bins and we put like items together, like electronics, plates, sports stuff. And we're getting to a point where we have so much stuff that these bins are kind of overflowing and things, we always find everything. And I feel we do a pretty good job. Like, very rarely do we have problems.
Right.
But it's getting to the point where it's feeling a little stressful. So we're talking about, at some point we're going to reorganize and we're just going to put bins in numbers. So it'll be in numbered bins.
Yeah.
And we'll put a note on the eBay item page. So it'll be like, this item is in bin number 5. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's right. Because of that, if you put something in the wrong bin, you will not find it. And
right.
I get that. So that's, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little bit scary because for us, we're like, it's an electronic item. So it can be in any of 4 bins, which is kind of insane. But you're like, these are where we put them. Not like bin number 5. If it's not in bin with
everything else, right?
Everything we happen to list that day.
But I think for us, and I'm not sure how it is for other people, once something goes in a bin to be stored, it never gets touched again until we sell it.
Well, it gets touched if you're emptying that bin to look for something else.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but yeah. So I guess.
So here's the thing. This is my theory about it. In the rare times where we've been like, this thing is totally lost, I cannot find this thing, we say we need to go to storage and look in every single box if it's worth our time, which it usually is, and we have to find this thing. And we do. We find it, It's rare that you're like, it's never found,
Yeah.
Like, you have to tear apart your inventory.
Yeah. I think, for me, 99.999 stuff works. It's
yes.
And there will always be a little tiny hang-ups. But I think it's good advice. Yeah, keep everything in the bin that it was originally in.
Right.
Yeah.
And don't be flaky when you're looking for stuff.
Yeah.
Pay attention to what you're doing.
But I think for us, people get into you could start putting barcode scanning things. It starts to become like an Amazon warehouse. Yeah. I don't think we're at that point yet where we need to do all that stuff yet,
Hi guys, my name is Juan, and I was just calling in to share a quick story. Really love the show. I really enjoy the content you guys put out, and I actually have been making some changes in the way I run my business. I've been a full-time eBayer for about 2 years now, and one of the things that it never occurred to me was to call eBay and try to dispute negative feedback. And I've gotten to about 1,200 feedback without any negatives, and within 1 week, I got 2 negative feedback, and you can imagine I was just kind of going out of my skull going, what is going on? But the scenarios that I wanted to share with you guys it was because of your guys' stories about how many times you called eBay. The first scenario was the gentleman bought a hair cutting tool, and it was an international purchase. And when he got the razor and he, I guess, cut his hair or whatever he did with it, he instantly emailed me and said, hey, this isn't sharp. And it was a used item. It makes too much noise. It doesn't cut very good. It's not very sharp. I want to return it. Being an international item, I really didn't want it back. He paid $15 for it, and I think it was something like $20 in shipping because it was kind of heavy. So long story short is he was actually being rude. So I decided that this was one of those people that I really didn't want to get into. I didn't want to kind of chance a negative. So I said, no worries, keep the item and I'll refund you both the shipping and the purchase price. And after I did that and he accepted the return, he left me negative feedback and he said, this guy scammed me. And so I called eBay and I said, I don't really understand. Like, I gave him all of the money back. It's impossible for me to have scammed him. And eBay agreed with me and removed that feedback. The second negative feedback was a lady where she bought a hairdryer and the wire was frayed and I just missed it. And she didn't email me. She didn't do anything. She just left me a negative. So I sent her an email and I said, hey, I'm really sorry about your experience. You know, we post thousands of items and sometimes we miss it. Really, really sorry. Can I offer you a full refund, including shipping? And would you agree that you would be satisfied with that? And she sent me an email and said, yes, I would. And, you know, sorry, I was having a bad day. I didn't mean to leave you a negative feedback. I took that email, and in my email I said, you wouldn't want to be a negative feedback. I took that email and I called eBay and I said, hey, look, she admittedly said that she didn't want a negative feedback, and eBay removed it just because of that email. So I thought those were two cool stories. Thanks, guys.
Okay, that's a great story. I love hearing when people can get feedback removed.
It is interesting. I mean, we're definitely pro call eBay about everything. Yeah. And, there will be some weeks where Ryan will call eBay 5 times just over crazy. Random things. And because, really, like eBay is, we're paying them. We're all paying eBay.
Yeah.
And so they're our partner in this. And we should call them over anything, over any problem, any question. And it is always interesting to me when I'm on a forum and people are like going to the forum to ask these questions about eBay. And someone's like, why don't you call them?
Call eBay.
And they're like, what? Like, I think it's interesting that they, but I mean, eBay expects you to call them. They have a whole call center and they're waiting for you.
I mean, to be honest, like anytime I have a question about some random, like whatever, the quick set locks that we have on our doors, I'm like, I just got to call the company because they probably have the answer for me, and they usually do.
Right. Oh, so calling any company.
Just any company. Like corporations, you're like, they have 800 numbers, like, And,
and very often I think it really is the squeaky wheel gets the grease, You can't call eBay and just rant and be like an insane person because they'll be like, thank you,
okay,
insane
bye.
person. But, we've always found if we have a logical explanation or logical problem, they will normally solve it. And the thing that helps us is that when we think a problem's about to happen or a buyer starts to be like, they seem a little bit like they're causing a problem, we call eBay first to get them involved. Because then they're like, oh, I see, he's saying these things that are not good. We're going to put a note on here, so if he does something, you're going to be covered. So.
Yeah. I've had success with that. So call eBay if you think you're justified. I mean, I have one negative feedback.
Yeah.
I cannot get rid of it.
Yeah.
I have tried so hard to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I will be able to get rid of it. I'm not sure.
But things keep selling.
So it doesn't really matter.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Amy from Knoxville, Tennessee. I had a question about selling on Bonanza. I've been selling about 10 months or so, and I've only gotten about 11 sales so far, but 2 have already been like unpaid item cases. I was just wondering if you've experienced the same kind of thing. Also, is there any kind of like a defect rate on Bonanza? Because the one item that I've sold recently, the guy hasn't paid, and I just want to relist it on eBay. But if he does end up paying, I don't know if there's going to be some kind of a defect against me on Bonanza if the item sells on eBay instead. So thanks so much. I enjoy your podcast. Bye-bye.
Okay, so I thought people just had to pay on Bonanza right away. Maybe it's someone made an offer on something and you accepted, because if people don't accept my offer, I don't end it on eBay.
Yeah, most of our sales on Bonanza have been just outright sales.
Like immediate sales.
Immediate buying.
So you have to pay right away.
Yeah.
So, I don't think you can open an unpaid item case on Bonanza. I don't think there's any defects on Bonanza or anything like that I know of. There are Bonanza like community help forums, so you could go look it up and you can ask them too. I don't know if you can call Bonanza. I don't know if they have an 800 number, just like I said, everyone did. But I
feel that they're a smaller company.
They are much smaller.
They don't have a whole help.
Yeah,
desk.
But
the only time we've ever had a problem where something sells on Bonanza and then sells on eBay too is because the same buyer bought it in one place and wanted another one and bought it on eBay thinking there's 2 of them existing on the internet. 2. That's the only time, and then we just canceled one of them and just...
I canceled Bonanza because I don't want a defect on eBay, so I sell it to them
for the most
on eBay.
part, I mean, we're never worried about like 2 people randomly wanting at the same time the same item on eBay. So.
Exactly.
Hey, Scavenger Life. This is Justin calling in from Orlando. I was just listening to you guys' most recent podcast, and when one of your listeners called in saying that they had one of their listings duplicated and noticed it before they got their second sale and pulled the listing, And then they went on to say that 70% of people, on eBay, they read somewhere, have had this happen to them. I just want to call and let you know, I think I know what's happening because it's happened to me as well. I list strictly all via mobile. I know you guys list, via, desktop or on the computer, but I only list, through the mobile app. And when you're listening to the mobile app, if you're doing a search, when you're doing your research on whatever particular item it is, you can click a button, on your phone that says sell an item like this. What happened to me was, I was listing a patch, actually a series of patches, and I clicked on that sell item like this, essentially cloning the listing, and didn't realize that the listing that I was selling an item like, the person had listed the item in multiple quantities. It just so happened this person listed that they had 2 of this specific patch. Well, obviously, I only had 1 of the patches. It sold. I have a fairly large spread, 900 items in my store. I didn't even realize that I had, that it automatically kept the item listed because, it assumed that I, too, had 2 of the same patches. Come to find out it sold, I had to go about canceling the order. So I've got a feeling that's probably what may be happening to some people. I can't verify, but I know it happened to me. And the reason why I know that was the case is because I had listed using that same template for, 3 or 4 different patches. So sure enough, I went in and looked at that person's initial listing and compared it to all of the other listings, and they all had duplicate, multiple quantities as well when I actually only had 1 in the patch. So, I went back and quickly revised everything, but I've got a feeling that may be not necessarily a glitch in eBay's system, but something that's happening that eBay, might not be aware of when they're clicking sell item like this. It's automatically defaulting to multiple listings. Hope that helps. Like I said, I don't know if it helped you guys because I know you don't list much with mobile, but if your listeners that are listening with mobile are listening, I hope that helps them. Take care. Thank you guys for all that you do. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, that could also be, that could be a possibility as well. That, if you're just doing eBay on your mobile and you're copying someone else's posting and they happen to have I have 5 of
quantity,
these. Yep. That could be a possibility. Yep. Yeah. I don't know.
You got to check that. It's weird. I've never had this problem, and it seems like people have had this issue. So, yeah. And it seems like eBay's aware of some of them.
I don't know. It just, just when people throw around numbers like 70% of sellers have this problem, that seems like a lot. We haven't gotten that many. It doesn't seem like 70% of people on our blog are having that problem,
issue. So. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's it for It's This Week. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com, and that's where we will link to anything we've talked to. You can also join the conversation over there as well. You can call and leave a question or comment on something you heard.
The phone number again is 540-407-8486.
We post an episode, or this podcast goes up every Sunday night or Monday morning, depending on the speed of our internet.
Yes, that's true.
Wednesdays, we normally post a what sells video, so you can actually see some of these items that we sell. And it's interesting, people have been like, this past week, people said, like, how do you sell things for so much?
Look, I actually show all items and all prices. So if something sells for $6, right, you see it too.
Do you should take a video of every single item? Not every single item.
I would say I take a video of 85% of what we sell. Gotcha. If I get bored, I'm like, I sold 3 boring shirts.
But I think it's for us, the reason why we get the prices we get is simply patience.
We wait.
Things might be 2 years, but we'll get that price. And trust me, we're as surprised as everybody else.
Trust me, when I sold those sheets for $80 each, I was like, wow, okay.
Yep. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube. Pick your poison, so you'll always get the latest podcast. And you can, if you want to hear us more, we also do another podcast at shampooandbooze.com, where we talk about our growing vacation rental business
in detail.
Right.
So we don't want to bore people on this podcast about it. Just go over there and listen.
And if you want to actually visit our area, you can actually rent one of our places.
Rent our farmhouse
from that website.
Yes.
Okay, guys, this podcast is ending in 1, 2, 3.
You did it wrong. It's 3, 2, 1.
Now it's over.